Peace and love, all. I am Tanera, and I am a doula, a herbalist, and a yoni steam practitioner. I help people heal themselves from the inside out, especially women. My specialty is womb wellness, curing infertility, and helping women adjust after they enter motherhood. As I stated, I also make organic skincare and natural feminine hygiene products as well. I also do spiritual cleanses. I do make jewelry as well. I do jewelry wire wrapping. I do a ton of stuff. Like I'm the melanated Martha Stewart. I do it all. I'm also in training to be a life coach because the things that I have been through in this lifetime, many people would have went crazy by now. So I have not went crazy. However, I have been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, anxiety, abandonment issues, social anxiety, as a matter of fact. I think that's pretty much. Oh, and PTSD, because I done been through some stuff. Okay, so. And then I discovered myself that I was having codependency issues and also a little bit of sex issues. I was using sex therapy as a way to self-comfort myself. So I guess it would be like a sex addict, but it wasn't a sex addict in a case of I'm just being with all these different people. It was more of in a case of I'm holding on to toxic relationships because I want that love. I want that validation. I'm seeking it. I'm just, baby, come to me. So let's see how I got there. People look at me and they say, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so sweet. You're so positive. You don't look like what you've been through. I shouldn't. No one should. So, what have I been through, you say? All right, well, we can start from right here and maybe backtrack to the beginning, So right now, I am a single mother of 4. One of my children just left my household. My daughter, she just turned 14 and she went BANANAS on me. I do recognize it's a generational theme that is happening here. So it's time to change the narrative. But we cannot do that if we do not have acceptance of what we have been through. If we do not have accountability of what we have been through. And that all starts with shadow work. Shadow work is when you examine who you are based on your actions. The actions you have taken when you're stressed out, when you're excited, when you're upset, when things are even, going right. And you feel like you're waiting for the other shoe to fall. These things are patterns that are developed in response to what we go through, mainly in childhood. The first 3 years that you are here, you are supposed to get validated and get love from your parents. When you don't get that, you seek it out in other people and you will forever be lonely. You will never have enough love or attention because you're always seeking more because you didn't get it in the first 3 years. The first 11 or 12 years are also your foundation. That's your input, output. Whatever you put into that child is going to come out of that child as well. So if you're not giving that child divine love, divine guidance, and what they need, they're going to feel like they're invalid and they're going to seek it out with other people. So that's what I went through in my life. And that's what got me to where I am right now. So basically, I was married for 7 years. And we lived together for 5 of those years. We had plenty of ups and even more downs. But I wanted to avoid what I had growing up. I wanted to avoid a broken family. My mother also had a broken family. And I wanted to break that curse. But I chose the wrong man to break it with, to be honest with you, because he was not ready for what I was ready for. I was codependent. I was looking for love in all the wrong places. Like I said, I had anxiety, depression, PTSD, and my abandonment issues stem from when I was a child. My father was not around like he should have been. My mother kept me from my father along with my brother. I don't know if she had her reasons or not, because my dad says, he tried to come around. She wouldn't allow it. My mom says he wasn't crap. He didn't want to come around. You know how that goes, the blame game. So I don't really know who did what. All I know is I didn't get proper guidance. I didn't get proper love. And because of that, I was just out here seeking it in all the wrong people. And the men that I was attracted to were just like my daddy. They were unemotionally available. They weren't even physically available. And I would always try to be perfect, so they would want to be around me. I became a people pleaser. Now, my mother, she wasn't emotionally available either. And she just did the bare necessities. So she went to work, came back, made sure we had food on the table, made sure we had clothes on our backs, made sure we didn't die. Bare necessities. My mother was a strong woman, She raised 6 children on her own. Some nights she didn't even eat. So I know she loved us, but she didn't know how to love us. My mother didn't know how to love us because she cut off love at a very early age. My grandfather was murdered. My mother was only 8 years old. So because he was murdered, and by my grandmother, it was a very domestic violence situation. And I'm assuming it was self-defense. I've never asked my grandmother what happened with you and, Poppy. I didn't have the heart to ask that woman that. But I know she missed him. I know she regretted it. And if she could change it, I'm sure she would have. So because my grandfather wasn't there and my grandmother shut down after the death of her husband, so did my mother and my aunties and my one uncle. They all shut down. Something happened to all of them. They all had emotional issues. They couldn't express themselves. My uncle became a drunk. He dropped out of school when he was like 10 years old, 11 years old, So life is not what it should have been for them. So that's why I say this is a generational curse. Now, my mother, she had 6 children, 3 girls, 3 boys. I am the second oldest. Because of that, I was often left to take care of the other children, clean up the house, make sure clothes are washed, make sure that the kids are fed, they're out of trouble, help with their homework, regular stuff that I thought was my duty. I thought as being the older sister, I was supposed to help out. So she also had my brother to watch us. He was a year older than us. My brother has always been abusive, mentally abusive, physically abusive. He was a narcissist. My mother was as well. So my brother would do things like, we were only a year apart. His friends they would like me. And I was a virgin. And he would tell them stuff like, she's loose. She's out there. Don't talk to her. She gonna do you dirty. She's a gold digger. I was like 13 years old. I wasn't with anybody. And even his friends saw that something wasn't right with that. So they would often try to take me under their wing or, be like a big brother to me. So that's just a tidbit of the things that my brother and I have been through, because he has been very toxic. My mother was also toxic because she would enable this behavior. Like, we stayed in a 2-family flat and we were dirt poor. She had 6 children. So in a 2-family flat, you would think she would have 3 kids downstairs, 3 kids upstairs. My brother was so abusive and so manipulative. She gave him his own house upstairs. Own house, own phone line. When she went shopping for groceries, he got his own groceries. She even gave him a minivan. Like, at 16 years old, he has a minivan. So he was treated like he was the man of the house, like he was somebody's father. And he took that to head. He took that to heart. So, he would abuse all of the children. And she would know about it. And the biggest thing that I remember, one day, I had to be about 16 years old. And I was going to my grandma's house a lot just to escape the household. So I used to wear real long nails like out to here. And I got my nails done. I had the junk nail with acrylic and a nail art. No, airbrush. We had airbrush back then. So I had all those things. And I went to go visit my brother. Well, really the whole family. My brother was there. My sister was downstairs. We're talking. She had to be like 12. I was like 16. Brother was like probably 18. And he tells her, like, you know, clean up the house. But he says it in a disrespectful manner. And he's like fussing at her, you know, telling her what she better do. So I'm like, hold on, you know, I haven't been over here in a while to see you guys. Let me talk to her for a minute. She gonna clean up. So next thing I know, I'm getting called out my name. He's all in my face. So I don't know who hit who first. Most likely it was him. I've never been a fighter. I just fight to defend myself. So I'm assuming my mouth must have been like, you know, saying whatever I said to him, and he hit me. So once he hit me, my sister jumped in it. You know, we fighting. My sister jumped in it, and then the rest of the kids heard it. So we're all fighting my brother. We're all like tearing his house up because he was very violent. He would fight all of us, all of the children. So I called the police because it got real violent. Like, I don't know if I grabbed a knife or my sister grabbed a knife. I don't know what happened, but they came out. And they were like, you know, we told you guys we've been getting too many disturbances from this address. We were to get another one. Someone has to go to jail. So they put my brother in cuffs and put him in the car. My mom happened to come home from work at the same time. She sees the commotion, asks what's going on, and she tells them, don't take my son to jail. That's who lives here. That's my babysitter. Take her. She doesn't live here. I'm just trying to protect my sister. That broke my heart. My mother didn't talk to me for years, many, many years, until I was pregnant. So that would be about 5 years, because I felt like she didn't have my back. I felt like she didn't love me. So by the time I got pregnant, I wanted her to be around for her granddaughter. So let's fast forward. I moved out at 16. I moved in with my best friend. She was a little bit older than me. And she would always take me wherever I wanted to go, buy me whatever I wanted. I didn't know she was grooming me. She wasn't my best friend. I thought she was, but nah. She saw a pretty young lady with a nice shape, nice personality. Many men saw me and their heads turned. And I guess she was insecure about herself. So she would use me as bait. All right? So I lived with her for a little while, and things started getting really hectic. Like, it was always a different man around. It was always chaos. She had me watching her kids. I wasn't even in school. My life was just party, 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 party. And I would just feel like, you know, why should I go without? Why should I have to be sad? You know, I don't want to go back to my mom's house. I want to be free. So I ended up going to Job Corps. I ended up working in a pharmacy as well, you know, and I did whatever I could to keep my mind off the fact that I felt like I wasn't loved, and I felt like I wasn't guided, and I didn't have any proper validation. So I stayed on my own with my best friend for a couple years, and hectic. But I ended up meeting my first fiance. And it was right around 2000. So right around 9/11. And he and I moved very quickly. Within a few months, we were engaged, living together, pregnant. I had a miscarriage, all those things. He was very abusive. Very abusive. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He threw an M80 at me when I tried to leave him. But what I remember most about the relationship with him, we went to go visit my mom for Christmas. And I remember her telling him that I was not the woman I was supposed to be, and I was damaged. She said that right in front of me. Yeah, lady, I was damaged because your ex-husband tried to touch me. Your ex-husband tried to molest me. But I was smart enough to know, don't go for it. Your ex-husband groomed me from day one. From day one. and you left me and the rest of the children alone in the house with him. You never answered your phone. You never showed up. You didn't return any messages. You left us all there to figure stuff out with a man that was not our father. And by the time you got us back, it was too late. The damage was already done. So that stood up my ex-fiance, that she told him that I wasn't the woman I was supposed to be. That triggered me, that stuck in my mind, and it made me move like I was not good enough. It made me accept people mistreating me. It made me accept less than I was worth. So I spent about 1.5 years with that man. And I finally left him when I met someone else. The next person that I met was my daughter's father. My daughter's now 14. And she's a very lovely young lady. She reminds me of her father and myself very much. But that was also a toxic relationship. I had left one person and got with the next without fully healing myself. A lot of us do that, you know, because you hear that saying, to get over one man, you get up under another man, or you get over one woman, you get up under another woman, which is not the case. You're just transferring energy from one person to the next person, and you're just taking those soul ties and you're compounding them. So you're going to have all these different personality traits and characteristics because you're still embodying the traits from the last person. And it's just too much energy going on in your body, you know? When you have sex with somebody, you have energy exchange. So whatever traits they have, whatever negativities they have, positivities, whatever they're going through, wherever their mindset is, consciously and subconsciously, it meshes with yours. It's going to mesh. So if you're with somebody who is not positive and they're very negative, you're going to have that as well. And if you're with somebody who has all these different energies, you're going to have that as well. So that is what I was going through with the children, the father of my children. We had about 1.5 years together, and I was always chasing him, always trying to be validated. I was codependent. When you are a codependent, you always try to solve other people's issues. You become a people pleaser. You want to be there for them because you feel like if somebody was there for me, this wouldn't happen. You know, that wouldn't happen. But you cannot save anybody from themselves. You have to save yourself. So I spent years with him. I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And once I got pregnant, he got deported. He got deported. So you know what that means, right? Here comes those abandonment issues. Here comes the codependency all over again. Here comes the PTSD, because now I'm thinking that I'm going to be with somebody. We're going to make it work. We're going to, you know, have a family, you know, a united household, all that I've ever wanted. And this man gets snatched from me. I didn't even know what was going on. For like weeks, he didn't talk to me. You know, I just happened to call 411 and ask for his phone number. And some lady answered the phone. Now, my ex was Nigerian. So when the lady answered the phone, she had no accent. So I said, hold on now. Who are you? Are you a maid? Are you the help? Are you a secretary? Because you don't have no accent. She goes, no, I'm his fiance. Baby, where? I'm his fiance. We got a baby on the way. Oh, I know all about you, honey. I done been in your shop. I used to do nails. I done been in your shop. I done sat across from you and got my hair done. You didn't even know it. See how low down people can be? So anyway, he ended up getting deported. He wasn't with that girl anymore. He got deported. And I had the baby on my own. Pushed her out on my own. Dealt with it on my own. He had a chance to see her because he was detained. Back up. He was detained when I was 8 months pregnant. He wasn't deported until my daughter was a month old. Maybe almost 2 months. Yeah. And almost 3 months. He was able to see her, but he told me he wanted to have a selfish moment because he couldn't raise his child, so he didn't want to see her and be hurt like that. Left me all alone with the baby. All right. So for 6 years, I was emotionally unavailable. For 6 years, I waited for this man to come back. For 6 years, I really thought it was going to work. So subconsciously, I cut myself off. Any man that I met, I wasn't taking them serious because I wanted my child's father to come back and make this finally work. So I finally got tired of waiting. You know, I was dating different people, and it was always the same story, different character. So I finally met my ex-husband, a man that I thought I was going to be with forever and love and cherish and all that good stuff. It was a whirlwind love affair, so I thought. But it was really a narcissistic love affair. I was an empath, a codependent empath at that, and he was a narcissistic sociopath. Which means that all he wanted was whatever he wanted. He can care less about what I wanted. He can care less about who he hurt as long as he got his way. Every day in life had to be about him. If it was not about him, he found a way to make it about him. And me just trying to be people pleaser, trying to make things right, you know, I would always sweep things under the rug. I would always overextend myself to him and just try to do whatever I could. So the end result was we ended up having 2 children. We ended up staying married for 7 years, 5 years together, 2 years apart. And he ended up putting his hands on me. That's how I left him. He lied about a couple of things. He put his hands on me, and he left me in the children's home alone for 3 days. The whole time he was on Facebook trying to get with other women. He was pretty much saying that I was the problem. I caused all these issues, and I was a liar. He didn't put his hands on me. So the end result, I had to go to a shelter. My mother wouldn't take me in. My father wouldn't take me in. I didn't have many friends because I've always been isolated because I don't trust people. Because I didn't trust people. So my ex-husband was all I had, and he knew that. He took it to his advantage. So I ended up coming out to Ann Arbor, where I'm at now, going to a domestic violence center. That's where I was diagnosed with, re-diagnosed with the mental issues that I had encountered. They wanted to give me medication. I didn't like the medication. It did not allow me to think properly. I'll give you one quick story. I got a phone call from my ex's best friend saying that my ex was in the bed with the woman cheating on me. And instead of me reacting like a normal person would, you know, I laughed it off. I said, okay. So the next day I'm talking about it to people and I'm still laughing it off. And they're like, Denaria, it's okay to feel what you're going through. And because I was on medication, I couldn't feel it. So I let it go. And then I started to journal. I started to go with the feelings that I was feeling. So let's say I had a feeling of inadequacy. I would have to ask myself, what is triggering this moment? When was the last time I felt like this? When was the first time I felt like this? Who made me feel like this? What did I do when I felt like this? So I just started writing those things down. And it helped me to pinpoint where the issues came from. Once you're able to pinpoint it, you can cut it at its roots. So I started to get more into yoga and breathing techniques and centering myself, grounding myself. I started to get more into healing crystals, meditation, healing frequencies, binaural beats. I started to connect more with spirit, more with the moon, more with the sun, more with the earth, more with nature. I just became one. That's how I was able to accept what I had been through, to accept the cards that were dealt with me. And I was able to maneuver my way through life in a more healthier way because I now understood the battle that I signed up for. So a lot of things happen as far as the divorce goes. A lot of stress, anxiety, unbalanced hormones, miscarriages. A lot. I went through a lot of pain in those 3 years. But the end result is I got to my truth. I got over each and every moment. Went through a lot of bumpy, scary moments. But I now have full custody of all my children. I am now a domestic violence survivor. I am also an advocate for mental awareness, and I work with NAMI. I'm an advocate for NAMI as well. I also help host classes for mental awareness. We help you to pinpoint what's going on with you, pinpoint your illness, and help you to heal yourself in the most natural way possible. So throughout my storm, I was able to bring it all in and heal myself. That's how I became a doula. That's how I became an herbalist and a yoni steam practitioner. When I was leaving my ex-husband, I was also going through a miscarriage, and I opted to go through it naturally. So going through it naturally, my periods were off. I wasn't having a period. The doctor wanted me to go on birth control, but you only get a synthetic bleed with that birth control. You don't really get a natural bleed. So I opted to research different herbs that I can take to bring my period back, and it worked. It came right back. I also got into, like I said, crystal therapy, with the yoni eggs. That helps to balance your hormones. That helps to cleanse your womb of negative energy, stagnant energy. And it's also a source of energy in the crystal. So if you get rose quartz, you will attract healthy love to yourself. You will exude healthy love. You will also have boundaries. You'll be able to speak more clearly. A lot of other things. That's just a few examples. So within healing myself with the meditation, the yoga, the yoni steams, the yoni eggs, the journaling, all those things, I was able to bring my cycle back, balance my hormones, and I now have a healthy baby girl. After I went through all that, I'm now divorced. I'm now mentally stable and mentally able to help all those that I encounter. So I thank you for joining my YouTube. Please hit the like, subscribe button, all that good stuff. And I thank you for allowing me to open up just a little bit and let you know who I am. I will be here uploading videos probably every day, because life is always an inspiration to me in each and every way. So whenever I feel the need to come and share with you guys, I will be here.